This program contains crazy material, including offensive language. Listening discretion is advised.
Welcome to a VO's Padded Room podcast. So put on your straitjackets and join Big Jim and Brad Storm as they probe inside the mind of a new guest each week. So strap up and let's do this.
Our guest this week on a VO's Padded Room podcast is a full-time bilingual voiceover talent. Our guest has been featured on hundreds of commercials and has worked with the likes of Giorgio Armani, Chase, McDonald's, Papa John's, and many more. Combining his 18 years of experience in theater with a decade behind the mic, our guest has definitely punched every day in the face. It's time to get strapped in the padded room because Robb Moreira, you are locked in and mic'd up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah!
Yes! I'm so excited.
Nice.
Can you feel it?
So hyped.
Can you feel it, Rob?
I feel the pads all over
Oh, no, that's hey, get your hand off me, man. Come on.
Sorry, bro.
Go get the straight
so
jacket.
soft. You're so soft.
It's that Giorgio Armani.
Soft and tender.
You're so fluffy.
You're so soft. Mio amore, so soft.
Put the lotion in the basket.
We were actually going to do, I forgot to tell you before the show, we were going to try to, I don't know if we're going to do this now or not, but you're from the East Coast. I'm from down here in Texas, and he's from the lower East Coast. You know, if he did like what is it called? A California surfer accent. You did a Texan, and I tried for that New York accent.
Hey, it's not a problem. If you want me to do that, I can take care of that for you.
No, but you got to do a Texas accent. I got to try to do the New York.
Holy hell.
Oh, man, a Texas accent.
That big ass state down at the bottom of the country.
It's that big spot down in the middle.
Oh, it's going to be one of these good shows.
Ooh.
Nice.
It's
Somebody
that
say
one.
spot?
The stars at night. Does that count?
Shining so bright.
Deep in the heart of
There is no basement, damn it. There is no basement.
Rob,
Let me out.
if I could turn back time. We're going to go back in time, bro.
I believe it's pronounced town, according to Will and Grace.
Ooh.
Turn back town.
Oh, yeah, tone. If I could tone back time and wear my thong like Cher did.
A Cindy Lauper edition.
Hey,
Dun, dun, dun.
you're a big time into theater, right?
Yeah, man.
Had to start somewhere. Why don't you let us know?
Yeah, I mean, I did theater for a really long time, man. I started acting pretty young. Went to the LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts here in New York. For those that are old enough to remember, if you ever saw the movie Fame, that movie was based on that high school from back in the day. So yeah, I went there, had a conservatory in training. Then I went to conservatory after there. My mom told me to do regular college, and I did it for a year. And I said, this blows. So I went to an acting school instead.
Why did it blow?
It just wasn't for me, man. It was one of those things where I feel like junior year of high school, I was like, I'm beyond this. I'm ready to live my life.
Be free.
But, I graduated anyway because you're supposed to.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was just ready to like actually do work, not just keep schooling. And then to like leave high school to then do more schooling. I'm like, I'm ready to experience life as an actor. Like, let's do this. So I did that. I put myself through conservatory training. I did a lot of New York off Broadway. I made no money doing it because, starving actors gotta starve. So I did. And then, I did office work. I humbled myself because I felt like I needed that. When you come out of those schools, you come out with such an ego, like you're the king high,
Hi there.
crap of acting. Like, I'm ready to perform. Give me my money. Give me my starring roles. And then you realize, oh, this is hard. This is actually not easy. And they really care about what you look like. And being a chubby Latino that's 18, 19, I was only ever going to be a drug dealer or a gangster. So, I kind of There's not many drug dealers on Broadway. So unfortunately, it was many years prior to In the Heights. So I was screwed, man. I was screwed.
You
I had
want to buy
nothing
some
going for me.
crack?
Basically, that's all I had going for me. That or it was like, give me your money, lady.
Robb Moreira.
That's all I had.
And Boys in the Hood on Broadway.
That was it. That was it. You know,
Blood in, blood out on Broadway.
Blood in, blood out on Broadway.
New
I
Jack
probably
City.
would have made that. I had the hair. I got the long hair. You know, that they probably would have taken me for that.
What was the best?
Give me some chung chung, right? I could have did that. I could have shanked somebody. I could have been, you know, shanker number one.
I'm white on the outside, but I'm brown on the inside.
I'm not an extra. I am the shanker number one.
I'm shanker number one. I am somebody.
Damn it.
But yeah, man, it sucked, you know. But it was cool. You know, what I did was cool. It definitely grounded me, and it humbled me. You know, it's a hustle, man. You really got to work for what you want, but it is unfortunately a business on looks.
Yeah,
and that sucked. I got lucky, man. I had a friend that I worked with in one of those productions who happened to be a voice actress, and she was like, "Dude, you should do voice acting." I was like, "Dude, what is that?"
What year was this?
That was 8 years ago now. So that was 13.
Yeah, okay.
13 is when she told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, and that's basically where it went. I was like, all right, I guess I'll take some work. It's like, I feel bad because like, if I laid out how it all happened, I literally like, it's like I stumbled out of bed and rolled into a career. Like that's kind of how it happened. But truth be told, I had such a vast acting foundation that it did make it easy. Like I wasn't just coming off the street, you know, working construction. I was like, I got a good voice. I'm just gonna be famous now. It's like, nah, man. I had like 18 years of experience, you know, in theater, acting, training, improv. Like I had all of that. So it fit in, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, while it does sound that way, I have my foundation is vast, and that's really what helped.
You talk about your foundation. You talk about your toolbox of skills.
Yeah, man.
In acting. What did you take away from going to acting school? What are like some of the major points that you really could transfer into voiceover?
Honestly, the biggest thing, now, see, in high school, we did what was called the Stanislavski Method. It was basically like, you know, take your actual real-life pain and emotions in life and put it on stage.
Right on.
And that sucked, because that, like, can emotionally destroy you. I mean, there were people that would, you know, act and do, like, a scene or something and be curled up in a fetal position because to get that emotion, they remembered, like, a parent passing away. I'm like, why would you go there?
Well,
that's crazy.
It's like, what was Heath Ledger when he did, you know, the Joker?
Yeah, like you get so deep, it's like it's hard to come back out of that, you know. And then in you know, when I left high school, then I started doing more Meisner stuff, which was very much more stuff that's like in the moment. You know, you react to what's happening there. The script is there to guide where the scene is going to go, but ultimately, if somebody coughs and you say "God bless you" or whatever, like that makes sense because you're there living as the character. That makes more sense. For commercial copy, I feel like that really plays a big part because you do have to be present and you are some kind of character to some capacity when you're doing that work.
Right.
And as long as you're there and you're present, you're able to, one, deliver the copy properly, but when you happen to get that one random client, which happens to me pretty frequently too, is that they'll just go, man, all those takes were really good, but you know what? Can you just give me something else? No direction.
Make sure there's no crickets
Total
chirping.
freedom. Exactly. Total freedom. You got to be ready to perform and pull something out of your ass.
Yeah.
So, thankfully, having that kind of backbone and having such a strong improv training, which was another really important thing, is that whenever a client is able to tell me, hey, can you give me something else? That something else isn't just one thing. I can give them like 10 or 15 variations. And I usually do that. I'll give them several different versions of the line, and then I will stop myself. And I'll be like, I could do this all day, just so you know. And then they go, no, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. I'm just saying.
And
I was like, if you don't stop me, I won't stop.
And to be able to do that takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time behind the mic. Talk about the importance of, perfecting your craft and warming up and getting behind that mic.
Yeah, I mean, you really do need to be behind the microphone to really understand what it's about. Because with that, there's a breath control, there's how your voice sounds, depending on the proximity to the microphone. The closer that you are and the lower you speak, you could get a nice kind of grumble, especially for men. Like, I feel like that's a nice trick for us, is that if we could get really close to the mic and really drop our voice to the, down into like our chest kind of chamber, we could come out with some really deep voices, especially if somebody like me, who naturally has a kind of, higher than normal male voice, it helps me drop down to, a different range that if you hear me speak, you wouldn't think that I could do. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't know that unless I'm behind the mic and I'm auditioning and I'm doing workshops and I'm doing workouts with other actors. Like, you need to do that stuff. Yeah, workshops are huge, man. And it was funny. I was actually talking to another actor yesterday, and I told him, I was like, the greatest thing that I got out of workshops isn't so much that I got the exercise. It's the fact that I heard everybody else read. And I've lifted so much technique from what other actors do, new actors, veteran actors, people, actors that are right on line with me, whatever. Everybody has something in their technique that you probably never thought of. And I've lifted so much from other actors' techniques to create my own like hybrid method that works for me. And I feel like everybody should, to some capacity, do the same, because there is no secret sauce. You create the secret sauce. And by doing that is by taking ingredients from everybody. I call it the Bruce Lee method of voice acting.
Yeah. When you're in that group setting, sometimes, you might have a tendency maybe to daze off a little bit, because maybe 8 people in there. But I thought, I think it's always good. Like, if there's a script up there on the chat or whatever, I kind of go through it while they're going through it and see, like you say, revelations start coming about where you're like, man, I never thought about it that way, and that's where you take things. So, when you're spending that kind of money, you don't want to just do your turn and then just kind of vanish. You need to,
and imagine that, imagine the waste of time that is.
No, big time.
If you're in a 1-hour workshop with 10 actors and you're really only present for the 10 minutes that you actually work. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a waste of time. It's
self-serving too. And nowadays it's like everybody, you want to be able to be a positive light, and you want to be able to provide something other than, hey, I'm coming in here and doing my read and I'm going to check out.
Absolutely. Nah, I mean, you're learning from everybody, and hopefully they're also learning from you. I noticed that when I've done some commercial workshops, because I still do stuff every now and again, I'll pop in and because, you do still need to be in practice. The frequency of the practice changes, though, the longer you've been doing it. So I wouldn't say I'm doing workshops every week,
right,
but I'll probably do one every month and a half, every couple weeks. I'll jump into one, especially if it's a casting director maybe I haven't seen yet that I'd like to connect with. It's a dual purpose thing. But that's always, good to do. And when I do my reads and people react, and sometimes like some people are like, not that I want to toot my own horn, but some people are like, whoa, that was such a great read. Like, how did you get there? Yeah. It creates a dialogue,
right?
And now that's a new person, a new, a new colleague to be in connection with. And that's how I've met a lot of people, is usually they come to me after the fact and they're like, man, how did you get there? And we just talk technique, talk basic acting.
And you learn how to teach.
Yes, and it's better for you. You learn more by teaching.
Yeah.
And it reinforces what you've learned too. Because, that's one of those things where I always said it's so hard sometimes to verbalize how it is that you do what you do. But the more you talk about it, then you start to find the words, and you really start to figure out, oh, that's where my brain goes. It was always on autopilot, but now I can actually define my steps to get on how I got to where I got to reading this copy. So yeah.
I think
a commonality on almost all our guests that we've had on here is coaching. We're talking about the VO groups and And actually, I'm stepping you up a level. You got a new quote now that I loved. I was watching one of your videos, and I had to write it down because this is me to a T. I love how you said this, and this is what you said. So I'm gonna break it down for the rooks. Now, first and foremost, rookies, you come into these new voiceover groups and be like, "Hey, what's the best equipment you got?" And then you say, "Because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you just started, you probably can't afford the best."
It's true. That's true.
I love that.
You gotta keep it real, man. You gotta keep it real. Well, yeah, which happens. You know, I've known a couple actors when I was coming up, and somebody, you know, and that a fellow actor's like, "Yeah, I got a studio brick." Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, yo, hey, good on you, man."
But
good on you.
That kind of segues into where I was going with
charging.
So now with this pandemic, we've had a huge influx of new folks. You know, where they lost their jobs and stuff.
Did we ever?
On the opposite side, you've got all of a sudden all these brand new coaches.
Yeah. Oh, bro.
I know this is one of my pet peeves as well. I know you talked about, you know, there's some coaches out there that have no business coaching.
Yeah.
So to the viewers or listeners rather out there, what's your take on, or how do you go about finding a phony, or, you know, to see if they're legit or not?
Yeah. I mean,
is it time in, or is it?
I mean, like, I can identify them because I've been doing it so long. I say before you even get to a point where you want to coach, I say, you know, get to know the players in the business. Get to know you, Brad, me. Like, get to know people that are working, not actors, not coaches, or that are dual actors and coaches. Just find actors, see what they're about, ask them who they worked with. At some point, you're going to find coaches that start to pop up more than others. Those are the ones that you kind of want to keep in mind. You want to speak to other successful voice actors, the ones that are doing it full time, or that are you know, on the cusp of becoming full time, and be like, "Hey, who have you worked with that you feel has helped you, you know, get to that next level where you're not just auditioning and nothing else? You know, who helped you step up the game?" Find who those people are. And the only way you're going to find that is by talking to other voice actors, not by going into a Facebook group and being like, "Recommend coaches," and go.
Right.
It's like, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you could throw 50 names out there, but what does that information mean?
Right. And also, plus, pick somebody that is in the genre that you're wanting to pursue.
You know,
even more important, especially
absolutely.
if you're somebody looking to get into like promo work. That's such a specific niche area that is, at this point, kind of concentrated with the talent that do it. Be like, yo, how did you get there? Who did you work with? How have you been getting work? Has it been direct marketing? Has somebody been referring you? Why did they refer you? What did you do that was whatever? Like, there's so many layers to how you can figure out what it is that you want to do. And the thing is, truth be told, I never did any of this. I figured it out all on my own. I didn't ask any questions. I was very, very lucky because I was just doing workshops. I happened to meet my agent in a workshop, and then I got signed a week later. And then that's how it happened. And I just started doing agent auditions, and I did that for like 2.5 years before I was like, maybe I should do something else. Maybe I should like actually take this seriously.
And Rob too, did your agent ever say, well, when they hear your voice enough, when they become familiar with you doing all these auditions,
yes,
you might see a turnover as far as getting jobs. Is there truth to that?
So they didn't tell me that, but I did notice it. I noticed it around year 4 or 5. And it's funny because the minute that I hit that, like, oh, it's now year 5, I felt this shift in my business where now casting directors were adding me on LinkedIn. They were adding me on Facebook. I was like, oh, this is weird.
How excited were you?
It was so interesting because like I've been seeing these people for years now, auditioning for them. And when I walk in, they know who I am. But when they started adding me, I was like, oh, our relationship just took on a new level. And then I started noticing it in my auditions when my agent would be like, hey, by the way, so-and-so requested you audition for this. I was like, oh, snap. That's crazy. But that took 5 years. That's a long time of grinding.
And you did it by yourself.
And by myself. No help.
That's hard.
No help. I had no help. I wasn't networking. I wasn't doing anything.
Let the games begin! Let the games begin! Let the games begin!
We know what that sound means. Time for another round of a VO's Padded Improv. Rob, today we have a script for you to read as a Russian mobster. So when you're ready, Rob, the mic is yours.
Oh, snap. Well, yes, of course. I'm a blonde bimbo girl in a fantasy world. Dress me up, make it tight. I'm your darling. You are my doll. Rock and roll. Feel the glamour in pink. Kiss me here. Touch me there. Anky panky. You can touch. You can play. If you say, I'm always yours. Now we could change that up for the last bit.
Hit that chorus, baby.
I am a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair and dress me everywhere. Imagination. That is your creation. Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. Yes. Oh, Lord. Yes.
Oh, that was...
Oh, thank you. That's a fun one.
That was good, man. That was great, actually.
That was good.
Russian accent, holy hell.
That was awesome.
You talk about, and that's one thing, I've been practicing some of my accents lately, and I feel like this is like that's a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah.
What did you do to work on that style of voiceover?
It's funny because I actually lived in Forest Hills, Queens, where there's a very large Russian Jewish population.
Perfect.
So all my neighbors, all the older ladies, they were all these older Jewish women, older Russian Jewish women. So whenever I see them, they'd be like, "Oh, Rob, how are you? You're so cute. Oh, you're getting so big." And I'm like, "What? What?
Why, thank
are you saying?" So I had to learn the accent so that I can understand what the hell they were saying. So that's how I did the Russian. The Spanish towards the end, that was just watching a lot of Desperado and my mom. My mom has the natural, the full-on 100% natural immigrated Spanish American accent when she speaks English. I mean, she's a high-end professional, but when she speaks, man, you know there's Latina there, man. You know she'll kick your teeth in if she had to.
That just adds another, that's another plus in your game.
Yes.
Being bilingual.
Yeah, that's huge,
talk about it.
actually. Being bilingual, truthfully, to any capacity is huge. But Spanish it's such a great market. Being bilingual and specifically speaking English neutrally and speaking Spanish neutrally, which is hard.
Yeah.
Because if you're Dominican, you have an accent. Puerto Rican, you got an accent. Mexican, you got an accent. We all have an accent. So if you can neutralize.
My wife calls it the Mexico City Mexican.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we all got it. I have that American-born Dominican accent. And the thing is, they all have something different. Argentinians, extremely, because I'm half Argentinian, they have an extremely different accent. So while Dominicans speak with a time limit, Argentinians sound like they're speaking Spanish with an Italian accent. That sounds weird, but if you hear an Argentinian accent, it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense. Right
but yeah, so it's such a big hook. That's how I've gotten a good amount of my agents. Yes, I have more than one, plural. That's how I've gotten many agents. That's how I get a lot of work. Sometimes I will audition for the English version of a spot, and then I'll also audition for the Spanish version of the spot. And usually what tends to happen, which is how I got to work with McDonald's, is that they like my English read, but they're like, oh, there was just somebody else that we wanted a little bit more. Does he speak Spanish, though? Yes, he does. Awesome. So we'll book him for the Spanish, and I'll get the job anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
So it's great. It just works. It just absolutely works to my benefit. And that happens more than you think. That happens so frequently. But then there's also spots like I do work with. I could talk about it now because now it's released for Espolon Tequila. So the thing is, all their stuff is in English. But if you're going to say Los Altos de Jalisco, you got to say that properly. You know what I'm saying? If you say Mexico, you got to say Mexico. If you're talking about tequila, you got to say
Mexico.
Tequila. Agave. They want to hear that. Exactly. They want to hear the naturalized version of that, but then be able to switch into a neutral English accent. So that, doing a lot of that. Laredo Taco Company, Jim, I'm sure you know exactly who they are. I've done a lot of stuff for them too. And they love using me. Why? Because they could book me in English, they could book me in Spanish, and they know when I'm speaking English, I'm going to say burrito and tacos, because that's how you're supposed to say
taco,
it.
por favor.
Exactly.
See,
so
now-
that's why I like having me around.
Yeah, Brad keeps telling me I should do it in German because I know German. I speak German.
Oh,
Yeah.
German's good, man.
Yeah, but
That's I
again,
just saw like a really nice booking for, I think, a grill company. I don't remember their name, but there's a booking floating around, and they were looking for German males.
oh, okay.
I'm telling you, man. But
Come
now
on,
that I
Jim.
know,
I know.
you in
Yeah. I got to brush
I
up
got you in
still.
mind, because
yeah.
I'm telling you, I see auditions like that, and I'll always ask my agents if I know somebody. I'd be like, "Can I refer someone?" 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, "Yes."
Well, if they need the Home Depot guy, let them know where. let them know where to find me.
You're German
Definitely the
Home
Home
guy.
Depot.
Come on, man.
John Deere, you got that John Deere voice. You
The
got that John
Polaris
Deere
3500.
Yeah. Let's mow some grass. Let's cut some trees.
Let's smoke some. I mean, cut some. Wait, what?
Yeah, you should do beer, man. Beer, love voices like yours.
I just did a bunch of beer earlier.
Yeah, I could hear it. You guys both got really great beer
You
voices.
think I got this beer belly by working out? No.
Hey,
You call it a
Rob,
beer belly,
wanna-
I call it a beer keg.
Yeah. Nice and round.
It's soft.
Who's going to
but
do a
firm.
keg stand tonight?
Just a normal Tuesday night.
Yeah, dude.
Rob, you're the second guest. This is back-to-back guest where they have multiple agents, and I think that's outstanding.
Sweet.
With agents, though, do you want to get an agent that covers more, like many states, or do you want to get an agent that's maybe covering 1 or 2 states so you can have more in one area?
Well, truth be told, I mean, more often than not, unless it's like one of the top tier ones, usually they're probably covering New York and LA. So like Atlas, they cover both territories. I think DDO covers both territories. So it really depends.
Okay.
But there are a lot that really are just kind of centered on their territory, or some might be in their main city and then like the surrounding 2 or 3. Like my agent out in Chicago, that's basically what they do. Like Chicago's their hub, but the surrounding like 3 states around them, they cover those as well. While the one that I have in Colorado, they just do Colorado. I had an agent in Texas. She retired recently, but she covered Texas, and they make sure of that when you sign with them. They're like, okay, you have nobody else in this, this territory, and they'll map it out for you and be like, yes, I don't have anybody there.
Now, what are some things to look out for when going through choosing an agency? Are there some red flags that right away you're like, hey, wait, no, this doesn't.
I wouldn't say there's any red flags, but same with the coaches. Find actors. Talk to actors. Actors are your best resource for what works and what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Always go to other actors. Best thing, if you go to an agency's website, which at this point probably all of them have a website, go through their roster. See if you see anybody you know. If you happen to see anybody you know, and let's say I see Jim, I see you on a roster of an agency I want to go to, I may be thinking about, that's a DM immediately. And I'd be like, Jim, quick question, man. I see that you're with so-and-so. What's the auditions like? Do you get a lot from them? Do you get a lot of turnover? Is it kind of quiet? Do you see that it's a lot of repeat stuff that's coming from like the main casting hubs? Because that's one I may not need, because if I have 2 agents that already are supplying me auditions from those casting hubs, then I'm not going to need another one that does the same. So I can pass on that one and check a different one.
Yeah, and what I like about it is that in our business, the majority of folks, like I would be like, yeah, let me help you out. Here's the contact, this and that. I'm not going to sit there and
yes. And that's the beauty of our business, of our specific side of the business, is that we're so ridiculously helpful to each other. Like, it's not even funny. We all want to see each other like get it. You know, we all want to help each other out. And I think that's fantastic. And the thing is, like, that's something that needs to be shouted to those people that are starting out. Be like, don't be shy. Don't be shy. I just recently posted in a Facebook group. I was like, you know, we talk about like our wins and stuff. I was like, I more so have an observation. I get anywhere between 12 to 30 LinkedIn connections a week. And they never send me a message or anything. They just want to connect. I don't know why.
I sent you a message today.
You did. But see, that's cool. You're literally one of like 70 that would actually send me something as you're sending me the request.
What's the point of that? That's what I don't understand. What are we?
Yeah, why are you connecting
you
with
get
me?
so many voiceover artists that want to be your friends.
Right. And it's like, but why? Why do you want to connect?
Talk to each other.
So I'll reach out and I'll be like, hey, what's up? Great to connect with you. Hopefully we could connect further. Let me know what's up. And a big chunk of those people are people that watch my YouTube channel, see my posts on either LinkedIn, Twitter, or Facebook, because that's really where I'm most active, is on those 3 platforms. And they want to connect because they want to stay seeing what I'm talking about. But when I reach out, that's when the conversation starts. They're like, oh, that's so cool that you reached out to me. Yeah, actually, I have some questions, and I didn't want to be a bother. And I'm like, you're never a bother. You're sending me a DM. It's not like you're calling me. I'll get to your DM when I'm available. And if I'm not, then I'm not.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not bugging me. I'll get to it when I'm ready and I'm available, and I'll let you know. So then I'll get back to those people and I'll be like, yo, you want to call? Let's call. Let's have a chat. Why not?
Let me ask you something, Rob.
Yeah,
Let me ask you something, though. Did you feel that way? Because you said you did this all on your own.
Absolutely. I totally felt that way. And the thing is, that's a very New York thing,
I felt that way at the beginning, too. I felt that way, too.
We all feel that way.
I'm from Rhode Island, so I don't know.
We all feel that thing. Yeah, we all have that. And truth be told, like, I know that East Coast-wise, we have that kind of issue. And I only know that because of West Coast people that I've worked with and speak to. Really good friend of mine and coach, Everett Oliver, when he actually grew up in New York and lives in LA now, and he's predominantly done his work out there. In speaking to him and, just hanging out, he told me, he was like, man, at least to me personally, he's like, man, you got to get that New York thing out of you. I was like, what? He was like, you guys like don't hang out. You guys don't talk to each other. You guys are so like at arm's distance. What is that? He's like, in the West Coast, people talk, they chat, they have lunch, they talk about their businesses. He's like, you guys don't do that in New York. You guys don't do that on the East Coast. You need to change that. The minute he said that, I was like, man, you're right. I should change that. Yep. And then I started having like these chat and chills where actors can jump into like a Zoom session. When I first did it, it was in person. And I would just put it to like the New York Facebook group, and I'd be like, guys, I'm going to be at this place from this time to this time. If you want to link up, just come by. No invites.
Cool. That's cool.
Just whoever's available and whoever's in the area, just come through. And I usually get anywhere between like 6 to 15 people who just show up like, I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to meet other actors. So it became that thing where it's like, if there isn't somebody doing it, nobody's going to do it.
That would be good to do like on meetup.com. You could probably set up something like that's a great idea. But now with the times that we're going through now, though, I don't know. But
well, we had that here in Houston. There's a group that I met up with once or twice, about 3 or 4 of us in the Houston area.
And it's great.
We met at like a hotel.
People.
Exactly. And the thing is, like I said, if there isn't anybody doing it, then nobody who's going to do it. Everybody's kind of looking around like, sometimes you have to be that change that you want to see. I know it's corny and it's a played out saying, but it's so valid. You need to be the change that you want to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
With Jim. I mean, Jim was pretty much the first person I really met in voiceover that I could really connected with, and that we could sit for hours, and he could teach me some editing skills, or we'll go over some scripts and break them down. I didn't have that. I was searching so hard for that, and it's such a beautiful thing when you find it, and it multiplies. It starts to grow.
Yeah, it's true. Because I mean, I did about 5 years of that kind of solo, hustle mindset where I was like, I'm just gonna rock this. Not even 5 years, probably like 4 years where I was doing that, and I was just like, going, and until I had that kind of epiphany, and I started to do that, my business has doubled year over year for the last couple of years. And that's because of referrals and the connections that have been created in me knowing this person. They introduced me to somebody else, and it just kind of kept going from there. And it's not to say that in doing it, it should be something transactional and strictly business, because I have created some amazing friendships with people as well. I have so many more friends that it's hard to keep everyone straight at this point, because everybody has such a great wealth of information that now I tell people, I could have possibly seen more, a faster set of success had I done that from the beginning.
I'm thinking the same thing.
But truth be told, I grew in the speed that I needed to grow.
And that's the thing too.
I was going to touch and add to that. It's like everybody talks about you got to fail in order to succeed or even know what success feels like.
Exactly.
So that's part of your journey. I mean, mine too. I fail as well.
Mine too.
Yeah. You have to know what it's like to fail to be able to identify success.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't fail, how do you know what you have no baseline to know what success feels like? You know what I'm saying? So you need to suffer a little bit. You need to know what it's like to be alone and be like, crap, I suck at this. To then be like, oh, this is what it feels like. Or people
tell you do.
Or that, right.
Or because then you like like you talk about being humble. Yeah. It humbles you again.
You need to be humble.
Make you realize, I got to work a little bit more.
Absolutely. You need to be humble in this game. You absolutely need to be humble. That's one thing I tell a lot of people. I've been acting for a long time, but truth be told, if I had the success that I have now and the income that I have now at 25, I was not emotionally mature to deal with that. I would have blown it. I would have absolutely blown that. My ego would have gone straight to my head. I would have become a jerk, and I would not have been somebody that people would want to be around. I needed to grind. I needed to hustle.
You got a lot of ball clubs out there that spend millions on programs for these kids.
Yeah.
These professional ball clubs, NFL, NBA, that these kids are coming out of high school.
Yeah, man.
Even fresh out of college.
They're not ready to process that. They're just not there. Some can, and some do.
Look at
I know I wasn't there though.
I wasn't either, man.
I know I needed to be humbled. I needed to get I needed to get a nut check. I needed it.
Look at Claypool from the Steelers. After they got beat by the Browns, he was crying over there, saying, "No, the Browns are going to get whacked." I'm like, "Hey, you lost.
There you go.
Zip it."
Yeah. It is what it is, Yeah. So I'm glad that things happened the way they did, because now I feel like I'm more of a commodity to the community than I ever would have been. Because now not only do I provide a good service to my clients, but I like to think of myself as somebody that people can go to if they have those questions, and they know that there's no paywall to know what I know. You know what I'm saying?
That's
and I tell
man.
that to people a lot, because they're like, listen, I'll pay you like $75. They're so quick to throw money at you to get info. And I tell them, I'm like, chill, we're just going to talk. Unless we're like straight up acting coaching, I'm not going to charge you. If you want to just talk, let's talk. We're people, man. If you want info, I'll hook you up with info. I'm not going to dazzle it by saying intro to voiceover. I'll tell you everything there is
Here's
to
your
know.
PowerPoint.
Give me $100. No, man. You want to just chat? Then let's chat. Let's have a chat. And I'm not going to hide anything behind a paywall.
Have you found did you find anything new about yourself through this webinar? Can I pitch what I have to pitch now?
Yeah, Jake.
Hey, whatever. Hey, it works for some.
Whatever you're selling, I don't want any.
I don't want
it. Man. Hey, Rob, it's been great having you on the show.
Oh, thank you.
You want to make a shout out to anybody, and you want to tell everybody how to get more?
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, my shouts out, my number one shout out is going to be to Corey Disson. That's my man. It's my brother. Yeah. He helped me do a lot. He helped me change my game around. And when you're ready to operate like a business, he's the guy to go to. So big shout out, big love to the go-get-it man himself, Corey Disson. And my brothers in La Viosa Nostra, D. Alvis and Charlie Toro. Those are my brothers for life. As for how to get to me, if you just Google Robb Moreira, just Google my name, I am really easy to find. I'm about the first 6 to 7 pages of Google. You're welcome. I made it easy.
If I want to become part of Vostra Nostra.
La Vostra Nostra,
Yeah, you got to roll me in. You roll us in, or
man, we got to jump you in, bro.
jump me in, right?
We got to jump you in, bro. You got to take some lumps if you want to get in this crew.
What are we rolling anyway?
Brad's over there rolling a joint while I'm getting my ass
he's like, I'm ready to go, guys.
And here Jim's getting his ass whooped with a black eye.
Exactly. You see us putting on the brass knuckles, keeping it old school.
You're in, bro. You're in.
You're in the crew, brother.
Hey, Jim, you want to tell everybody where they can follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. My website is bigjimmedia.com, and on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn is at Big Jim Media.
I'm going to do a Rob. Hey, you can look up me, Brad Storm. Boom. Brad Storm VO on
Google him, baby. Google him.
And we'll save a ton of time here.
There you go.
Also, you want to check out a VO's Padded Room podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Captivate, wherever you can find it. That's where it'll be. Give us 5-star rating. Hey, share with the world and enjoy it. What do you got to say,
Share
Jim?
the info, y'all. Share the info.
And when the auditions never end and shit gets real, you gotta
punch every day in the face. Yeah.
Boom. Dig it.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's show.